All right, I'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from our meeting on February 2nd, 4 weeks ago. We discussed Wingdale Solar, and we had a motion to ask the planning board consultants to prepare a positive declaration narrative, and that was all in favor. And then we had a discussion of the Redless Private Family Cemetery, and we had a motion to list the project unlisted under SECRA, to revert to Dutchess County Planning, and to set the public hearing that's going to happen tonight. And then also to have the applicant contact the code enforcement officer for an interpretation of whether or not headstones are considered structures. Then we had a discussion about an accessory apartment and a resolution to classify that action. And then discussion of a lot line change off of Westover Road and a resolution to classify that action. And then the release of a performance guarantee for the 10 Mile River Preserve Activity Barn. And that passed, and then we ended the meeting. Need a motion to accept the minutes. Motion made by Member Palmer, seconded by Member Robert-Deer. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Okay, that passes 5-0 with one absence. All right, next on the agenda is a public hearing for Redless Private. Our representative here from Redless. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. So just as a summary of the project, my name is Kim Garrison. I am with the firm of Brandt & Lyons. We're a small law firm that is dedicated to environmental, land use, and real estate law. We are representing Jason Redless, who is the member of 209 Cricket Hill Road, LLC. Mr. Redless owns property at 209 Cricket Hill Road. That's his residence. There's the subject property is the parcel that is directly below that to the south. Right now it's vacant land. It's a hayfield. And what's being proposed is a private family cemetery for the Redless family. It will measure 40 feet by 80 feet in the southwest corner of the property. We just want it to be a simple burial area, just a simple gate just to kind of mark the boundaries, perhaps a few headstones on there. It's really meant just for the Redless family, not open to the public, just private family members. The property does have a conservation easement on it. This cemetery is outside of that conservation easement. The conservation easement area is shown on the site plan map that has been provided to the board. And just a few little updates from the last meeting. We have updated some of the site plan map notes per the discussions of Ms. Polidoro and Mr. Warner. So we have added an area and bulk table. The structure area has been left off until we get some clarification from Mr. Anderson, which I'll provide a little bit detail on that. There's also been a note added about that all known wells and septic areas are more than 200 feet away from the proposed cemetery. Mr. Chase, Wesley Chase, the surveyor, did also look onto the county website just for any open well permits or any completed well permits, just to confirm and everything that has been provided previously to the board is accurate. So that note has been added. 200 feet is what is required from the Department of Health for Dutchess County. Let's see. We've also added the note about the aquifer district and the note about potential Indiana bat and bog turtles. That's in a new submission that we'll provide to the board following tonight's meeting. So I did reach out to Mr. Anderson regarding the interpretation as to whether the headstones are considered structures. I got him a letter to him with some research done. I got that to him last week, and so he is in touch. He has that.
This is the
Our
letter
letter. Yep, that's
Okay.
the letter.
from Friday.
And I did get a phone call today from Michael Ligori, the attorney for the town. So I believe that Mr. Anderson is working with Mr. Ligori, and hopefully we'll have an answer soon. I've also updated the short form EAF form. There was a question raised by Mr. Warner about potential archaeological or sensitive sites. Mr. Warner and I had a conversation today. I have submitted a consultation report today from Chris, CRIS, and so hopefully we'll get some responses there too. And I addressed the question about the driveway easement. The driveway easement is shown already on the subdivision map from the Mill and Seabolt subdivision map. Maintenance is already discussed on there, so I don't think there's anything that further needs to be done for that. And I proposed some deed restrictions that I've provided to the board for their review. And I think that's kind of covers a lot.
Okay. So it sounds like there's still some outstanding issues.
Yes,
involved
we're
in-
waiting on the interpretation, and I submitted the archaeological report, consultation report today.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go through the ACARF memo. Mr. Warner?
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so the applicant covered a lot that's in here. We could skip down to number 3. That just outlines in 3 parts the driveway easement, the conservation easement, and the deed restriction, 3 things that we kind of asked for a little more clarity about at the last meeting. So there is a driveway easement that serves lots 4, 5, and 6 from the prior subdivision. The final map was included in the submission. They've added notes to the plan to the effect of that driveway easement. Maintenance is spelled out there. They don't see an issue with access to the cemetery. It's not going to disrupt the current arrangement there. So I just summarized what the applicant had provided in the letter, then that the applicant's attorney just summarized as well. The conservation easement also noting that it's on the eastern end of the property. It's not within where this is proposed, so that's not applicable. And there is a draft of a deed restriction that was submitted that I understand Attorney Polidoro has been in contact with the applicant's attorney on some comments for that, which can be addressed between meetings.
Hmm.
You could scroll down. Number 5, just the county did get the referral from the planning board for 239M. They responded pretty quickly on that. They noted it's a matter of local concern. They didn't have any comments. Number 6, just clarifying that they did add a note to the plan about all known wells and septics being more than 200 feet away from the proposed cemetery's boundaries. Let's see. Number 8, about the interpretation. So we're still waiting to hear from the code enforcement officer, building inspector, about whether the headstone should be treated as structures under the code's definition of structures, in which case, if they are, they're not meeting setback requirements currently in that location that the cemetery plot is proposed, right at the corner of the lot. So
Right.
I think we'll just have to keep waiting to see what comes of that before anything moves forward. They did add the bulk table. That's comment number 9. Again, waiting to see the outcome of the interpretation on the headstones. They did add the note about the aquifer overlay district. And then I'll get into the seeker comment. So there's really just one main comment. We had them submit the correct environmental assessment form. The one that they submitted originally was like an older version that doesn't necessarily have all the up-to-date info. And now you can use the DEC's website to create an EAF form that's partially filled out with information from certain databases, including the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation's database on archaeology. So it turns out that the site has a flag as an archaeological site. It's very vague. It's a large area that it could be. The public's not really privy to what those are because there's concerns about looting and being public information there. So we have an archaeologist on staff that does have access to the data because she's a licensed cultural resource specialist. So she did some research in the system and found that there was some pretty extensive surveys done as part of the Iroquois pipeline, which is just east of this site.
Right.
There seems to be a pattern of some pre-contact archaeological sites that were in the vicinity of this site. So we're recommending that they consult with SHPO or PRHP just to get a determination about this particular action in this area, if there's an issue with archaeology. And I think that's important to get before you make
Just
any
what does it mean by
secret.
pre-contact?
Well, pre-contact would be like Native American
Right.
timeline sites. So, there's a stream to the east. Usually waterfront sites are
Yeah, down the hill is the 10 Mile
yeah.
River.
So the Iroquois area had a bunch of, I guess, documented pre-contact sites. So
Okay.
this isn't too far away from that. So we felt it would be a good idea just to get it looked at for a determination from the state. They have 30 days to respond. They usually do it sooner. We'll see. And either there'll be a request for more information, maybe possibly a phase 1B testing, which wouldn't be pretty extensive on this. It's a small area. We'll see what they come back with. Either that or a no effect letter, a letter of no effect based on what they know about the site and the project. So that should be coming within 30 days.
Again, no details as to what that sort of pre-contact.
No, it's not really something that's like available to the public. SHPO will obviously take a look at this, the maps and the description of this project. They'll look at what they know about the area and they'll make a determination based on what's around it.
Okay.
So our recommendation is to not move forward with a seeker determination until we have that letter or conclusion with the State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. So, and I did have a call with the applicant today. We included our archaeologist that did a little research here, and we all talked about what the process is, how to do the submission, what to indicate for the type of review you need, and it sounds like she got that started. So.
Yep, I did.
So the recommendation would be for tonight to have the public hearing, either continue it or close it, whatever is appropriate, but no other further action at this point.
Thank you. Engineer Berger? Okay, thank you. Attorney Polidoro, I did mention about someone had brought up about recreation, and if you could just elaborate on that.
If you want to pull up the map, this question came up during their initial presentation. A portion of the property is burdened by restrictions, but I believe it's shown on the map where that line is, and this is outside of it.
Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Give me a
And
moment.
just to confirm, while we're pulling that up, I did get the Morrissey's comment letter. I also got the Kirk's public comment letter as well. So I know that has been a topic of discussion. I did review, we had done title on this property before. I did review that the recreational restrictions, and it was later amended to also allow some agricultural uses. That is strictly in the conservation easement area, which is marked
It's
with the little
hatched area.
hashtag, yeah, or hash lines there. There were there was another declaration of restriction, but that was actually dealing with the design and size of houses on there, so that also isn't impacted by this.
Okay.
So, I mean, based on the information she's provided, it appears to be located outside of the restricted area.
Okay.
Sometimes you come up with a declaration or something that isn't necessarily in the chain or that got missed. So if someone has something, we'd like
Right.
to look at it.
Sure.
I can provide that to you, Mr. Polidoro, because I do have that. And again, it's three restrictions. One is that can be no raised ranch design. Houses have to be at least 2,000 square feet, and if there's have to have underground utility lines. But I can provide that to you from the title report.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right.
I just want to touch on the other issue,
Yep.
which was the future deed restriction.
Mhm.
So we've had some discussion about if this is a privately owned cemetery,
Mhm.
and one day the Redless family or the last heir is going to be gone, or the property is going to be sold, and so how do we make sure that someone is always maintaining the landscaping and the required fencing, or even that people know there's bodies there one day in the future?
Sure.
And so what we've been talking about is requiring a deed restriction that would be enforceable by the town of Dover, that the town could come in and enforce if needed, third party. That would require the current owner to maintain the fence in perpetuity and the landscaping or replace it. And also it would have a map with meets and bounds description of the burial area so that it's clear and of record to any
Right.
future buyer that, this is the burial area.
Right. So the current owner being whomever is the owner at any given moment. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that we would continue working on.
Yep, understood.
Any members of the planning board have any comments, questions this time? All right. Please
I'll
have a
step down.
seat. Thank you. All right. Okay, I'll need a motion to open this public hearing for 209 Cricket Hill Road Private Cemetery.
So moved.
Motion made by member Williams,
Second.
seconded by member Palmer. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of opening this public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This public hearing is now open. We have a list of 6 people, and then at the end, I'll just ask if there's anybody else who would like to speak that isn't on the list. Each person has 3 minutes. If you could please stick to the topic at hand. And first we have Valerie Bruno. And I'll just so I give everybody a warning at 1 minute, just they have 1 minute.
Okay.
And then if your time runs out, I mean, you can
And he's got to stop.
obviously
All
finish
right.
your sentence. So
I'm okay with that. Thank
you
you.
have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Valerie Bruno. My husband and I are at the adjoining property next to the one in question and discussion. I'm hoping for some clarification. There are a couple of questions that have emerged after we've looked at what the map is showing now. When I called previously, I was given a slightly different indication about where the cemetery would be located, and it is much closer to my property than I originally understood. It'll be visible from my backyard, especially if there are headstones or structures. I will be looking at that as I am looking out my backyard on a regular basis. It's very, very, very visible. I'm worried about the value of my property when I go to resell at some point. If a cemetery is visible from the back of my property, it decreases the value. I don't think that there's any question about that. The applicant's land currently already drains into my property. We already have water runoff issues on my property, and I do believe that any excavation or burial activity can and will impact how the water continues to flow into my property, and possibly great potential to make it worse. I have questions about stormwater studies, or given the rate of nature at this point, the amount of water coming in is pretty significant, so I have some questions about how that will impact us. This is a permanent decision that cannot be easily remedied, so I hope that we make it with great caution and care because it does have long-term impacts. Based on the paperwork that I saw, there are no clear guidelines or expectations or limits regarding regulations with regards to groundwater, burial expectations. I don't know what the legal ramifications are, if there needs to be some kind of barrier placed in the ground or how that might impact my water, because I am 200 feet away, but the water flows down and into my yard where my well sits. And the headstone guidelines. I'm wondering about increased setbacks, what the visual and health implications might be, as well as property longevity, upkeep, which I heard about just momentarily ago. And it's a residential neighborhood that we're putting a permanent private structure on. And I worry about the financial loss that would be created long-term. At a minimum, I would hope that there would be a groundwater study, some kind of independent reviews, strict monument size limits, increased setbacks, green buffering, some kinds of plants or shrubbery put in to protect our view and what we've invested here. So I respectfully request that the application be withheld or denied until we can get some better answers to the questions that I have. I want to thank you for listening. Have a great night.
Thank you. All right. Again, thank you. Next is Lori Kirk. And you have 3 minutes, once you start.
Hi, I'm Lori Kirk, and we reside in the lot that shares that driveway easement. Not gonna lie, I'm just pretty upset because of just the different aspects that's going on right now. As the Brunos said, the water table is actually very high up on the mountain. When we were building our house, we ran into a lot of soil problems. We had to dig deep and deep and deep because of the clay. I am concerned about the gravestones. I was wondering if they are considered structures and if there's going to be any height restrictions on them too, because if I look out my back window, if I'm sitting out there, they're going to be right there. I'm very concerned about the market value of my house going down drastically, because I don't think that we're ever going to be able to resell and get the money that our home is worth because of that. I was also wondering if why would it be put on that side, right in front of two neighbors' houses, or 3, 4, where we can all see. Cricket Hill's a beautiful road, and they have beautiful sunrises, beautiful sunsets, and that's partly why we bought our property. Also, I'm just thinking about, let's see here. Although the local zoning allows the private cemeteries, are there certain state laws, not town laws, that perhaps the town doesn't know, or that we can maybe research a little bit more on? Also, who's going to be maintaining the full easement in the bad weather, the warm weather? Like I said, it gets very muddy. There's a lot of water up there. I'm concerned about how many people are going to be attending these burials.
minute.
We're outside in my backyard listening to music or having a party, and then there's going to be a private ceremony. It's right in the corner over there, so I feel like that may be an issue. More so, I am I'm just, worried about the market value of my home. We lived there for over 22 years, built our house up there, and we loved it. Still do. And I just think it's going to bring the value down. Let's see. Also, is there any laws, because I don't think my septic and the fields are 200 feet from where the site is. They're not. They're not 200 feet. And then I saw something about a dwelling has to be over 1,650, I think 1,650 feet from a burial site. So I don't think that's the case either. So, sorry, I'm nervous.
Please
Specific information.
finish your thoughts.
I'm sorry. And I think, I don't know.
So, you were just saying if you have any
That's it.
specific
I
information.
was going to ask that there was a location of the off-site wells and septics, right? But if just the wells.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you need specific
sorry.
information, you can submit it to the planning board, so we have more
Yeah.
to look at.
Because I know they're not for a fact, and the septic fields, they're just,
Right, the concern is though about any environmental compromise of the
Yes.
wells.
Wells are the separation, not the septic.
Right, not the septic.
There are no, other than 10 foot, there's no. It's the 10 foot from the property line, it's only.
yeah.
Separate
Right.
for septic.
And like, what if I wanted to put a pool back there? And, and I mean, we have company all the time, we have parties out there, I'm not going to be quiet, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, worry, like, I want to know what the laws and regulations are too. So,
I mean, okay.
no, okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kirk. Next we have. Next we don't have Haley? That's fine. Next we have Kevin.
Hello, Kevin Cook. The few issues are the visual, like my wife was talking about. If anyone knows the properties, it's an open field. Where my house is probably approximately 200 feet from the proposed site. So if I stand on my back deck, it's right there. I could see it. There's no trees, there's no nothing. It's wide open. So I'm concerned with that. And my concern is the financial end. Who's going to buy my house when you're standing on the back deck looking at tombstones? Yeah, that's what I'm concerned with. If it does pass, there's hedgerows, there's something like that covering it up or something. You know, it's wide open. It's sitting right in my back lawn. So I'm asking for it to be delayed or looked into deeper. I mean, like my wife was saying, I think there's a New York state law that says, you know, a cemetery can't be built within 650 feet of a existing home. I mean, I'm 200 feet from it, wide open, not a tree in sight. Okay.
We
so,
will look into that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a, like a citation for that law that you found? With the distance limit, so we can look it up?
That's a New York state law.
I am the one who read that when I was researching it online.
Would you like to come speak at the public hearing then? Okay. Haley
Hi,
Kirk?
my name is Haley Kirk.
You have 3 minutes.
I am not going to be speaking much further on what everyone else has said already. I think that everyone that has spoken has already gone over most of my concerns, but I will say that my one question is, under the New York Not-for-Profit Corporation Law 1401, it states that a family burial ground cannot be established within 1650 feet of an existing dwelling without written consent. And like both my parents mentioned, we are a lot closer than 650 feet, 1650 feet, excuse me. So I just want to know if it can be explained how this proposal complies with that statute. Thank you.
Do you have the actual citation?
So
You can look it up.
1401 was it?
Well, that's, it needs to be a
Okay. Sure.
citation.
Okay. Thank you, Haley Kirk. And like I said, we will look into, just like we look into all the issues, we'll look into that as well. Next, we have Holly Morrissey. And Morrissey, you have 3
Hi,
minutes.
good evening. Holly Morrissey, 211 Cricket Hill Road, next to Kirk's, with the empty lot owned by Redless between us. So I had brought up some initial concerns about this, some of which were answered, but I also question the placement of the cemetery with all the property he has, much of which is not visible from the road. So even though I won't see it from my backyard because of the hedgerow, coming up the hill, you would see it. Kirk's and the other neighbor will certainly see it. So I think there's better placement that could be chosen for that. The other questions I had that were not answered, I wanted to be assured that there's no additional signage on his sign to say family cemetery, or in any way alluding to that. My other concern, obviously, is the value of the property. I think minimum it would be a 7% reduction, in addition to Transco and Cricket Valley Energy that we already deal with. Height of the headstone, whether you call it a structure or not, you know, is it going to be a rock? Is it going to be a plaque that we don't have to see? How tall is this fence or gate? Again, is it a foot-high white picket fence, or is it a 5-foot-high iron fence that can be seen from all of our homes? You know, we have a really nice, peaceful existence up on the hill. And again, that's why we bought up there, because of the way it is. We pay our taxes. And we should have the enjoyment of our property as it was. So those are my concerns. I
One
don't
minute.
think I've missed anything. I do have to agree that we have a lot of water. Even though we're on the top of the hill, we have a lot of water. We had to put in almost $10,000 swale to take the water away from our home that comes down off the road. So any disturbance is going to exacerbate that. Certainly, it's a young family that's proposing this. Hopefully, there's nothing that's going to happen for decades. But again, the fact that this might affect our future property value, especially the Kirks, right behind their house. And that's all I have. And it's also going to set a precedent on our Mill-Siebold subdivision lot. If we allowed this cemetery, maybe the Kirks want a cemetery. Maybe I want a cemetery. We'll call it Cemetery Hill. So, and what other things might be allowed. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next we have Charles Esselmeyer. And Mr. Esselmeyer, you have 3 minutes.
I live at 250 Cricket Hill Road, across the street. I'm not going to repeat what they all said, but I am not going to sugarcoat it. I'm 100% against it. It seems like Cricket Hill, with the two things down the end of the road, give us a break on Cricket Hill. I mean, what else is next? It's a residential area. You have deed restrictions of the buildings, that wasn't even sure about, but you have deed restrictions on the building, but you can put a cemetery? I mean, I guess you can, but it just seems odd. So the main reason is negative impact on our property values. That's probably the number one reason. But I could probably see it from my house across the street, especially in the wintertime. So I'm 100% against it. So,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. All right, this is the public hearing for 209 Cricket Hill Road, private cemetery. Any other members of the public wishing to speak at this public hearing, please come to the podium at this time.
Mr. Chair, may I address some of the questions if there's no further comments?
One moment. Okay, so seeing no one else approaching the podium at this time, I'd like to hear from the board. I believe, given the concerns heard tonight, and there was already some outstanding stuff from the applicant, I would be in favor of continuing this public hearing. Motion to continue the public hearing made by
So move.
Member Villano, seconded by
Member Williams.
Member Williams. Discussion on continuing the public hearing?
Chairman, could you just clarify, is this 1 month out?
I mean, we might need more than 2 weeks to get some information here.
Under Rod's is
So then the next meeting would then be April
6th.
6th?
April 6th.
This is section
Okay.
over there. I'll forward it.
All right, so the motion is to continue the public hearing to Monday, April 6th at 7 PM or soon thereafter as the public can be heard. So again, motioned,
So move.
seconded,
Member Williams.
discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of continuing this public hearing say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Okay, so this public hearing is continued by a vote of 5-0 with one absence to April 6th at 7 PM. Yes, if you'd like to come to the podium, please do so.
Just wanted to comment on one question. If I could have that citation regarding the not-for-profit law, I had looked into the cemeteries. I have that written in my initial submission. Basically, what I had found was that in New York State, there are no state regulations for private or family burials. You can have a not-for-profit corporation that does do cemeteries, but it's not required. And when it's not formed by a not-for-profit, which this case it's not, there are no state regulations. It is up to local jurisdiction in the town of Dover, as we've discussed. Cemetery is permitted in the RU district. with special use permit, and typically with a special use permit, it's considered to be in compliance with the comprehensive plan and the land use law, assuming that you can meet all of the criterias, and our initial application had gone through those criterias. If there's other further comments, I can address them in another submission, but I just wanted to just provide those comments to you, and thank you for your time.
Okay,
It was
thank you.
1401.
1401 of the not-for-profit.
That was this.
Chapter
that was
35,
cited to
Article
us.
14. Not-for-profit NPC, Chapter 35, Article 14.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's
All right.
more specific.
Thank
This
you.
section doesn't get you there. You have to go to the Chapter 35.
Okay. All right, so nothing further on the Red List Cemetery this evening then. We're moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is a public hearing for the Petrie lot line change. Representative from Petrie, come to the podium, thank you. And did anyone sign up for the public hearing? Okay, no one signed up for the public hearing. All right.
How you doing? My name is Brendan Johnston with Johnston Surveying. I'm representing the landowners of both these parcels. So essentially, it's 917 and 921 West Dover Road. There are two 8.1 acre parcels, and we're just reconfiguring. So one will now be 11.765, and the other will be 4.451. And we resubmitted after the last meeting, and I believe we took care of most of the comments. A couple partials left to do, which are no big deal. So yeah, just looking to move
I
ahead.
sent you that citation. I sent the citation to you.
Okay. So I don't have anything further on this. Any members of the planning board have anything further on Petrie?
No.
Okay. Planner Werner?
Yes. Okay. Most of their comments were addressed. We did clarify that we don't need any ZBA involvement on this one. No variances are required. No, therefore, there's no referral to the county. I'm looking at number 4. Just a couple of comments on the content of the plat and what was recently resubmitted. Comment number 6, there was the zoning table added, which we asked for, but it seems like the tax parcel was entered twice and shows like the same zoning for both, which they're different districts. So we just asked that that column be deleted. Sounds like that's okay by the applicant to do. The other outstanding comment was with regard to the driveway easement. We can skip all the way down to, hang on. Where's that one?
Excuse me, number 9.
Thank you. The end of number 9 in the bold. So the access easement off the road is shown, but it doesn't extend all the way to the road. It just starts within the property, so we thought it would be, should be revised to extend all the way out to the right-of-way, public right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
You could pull up the plat, and you can see it that way too. But
I did notice that oversight when
Yeah.
I got the comment letter. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's an easy fix. Yep.
I mean, and these can be the zoning table question, and then this easement edit. I think if the board is ready to move forward with a resolution tonight, we can put those as conditions, and I think those have been added as conditions already in the draft resolution that you have. So if you just scroll over to the frontage, the driveway easement is in, it's hatching there if you zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, well, it's hard for me to see it.
Yes, it does make it easy.
Yeah, so you see the hatching starts at the property line in
Rather
off
than-
of the road, so we're just extending it out to the right of way.
Mhm.
That's all we're asking.
You don't see an issue with
Oh, no, not
that?
at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's-
sounds-
that's how it should be.
Yeah, that's how it should be. Okay.
yeah. So that's it. We did type 2 this already at the last meeting for seeker. You set the public hearing for tonight, so our recommendation is that if the hearing can be closed, there's a resolution. It's been drafted. It has these couple of cleanup items as conditions in addition to the other standard conditions that we usually put on these.
Okay. Thank you. Engineer Berger, anything?
No comments.
All right. Attorney Polidoro?
Nothing further.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So you could have a seat. So this is going to be a public hearing for Petrie lot line change. I'll need a motion to open this public hearing. Motion made by
So move.
Member Villano, seconded by Member Palmer. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of opening this public hearing say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Okay, this public hearing is now open. No one has signed up to speak at the Petrie lot line change public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to speak at the Petrie lot line change public hearing, please come to the podium at this time. Okay, seeing no one approaching the podium, I would think we have a motion to close this public hearing. Motion to close the public hearing made by Member Palmer, seconded by
Member Williams?
Member Williams. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That motion passes 5-0 with one absence. Sir, if you'd like to come to the podium again. Okay, so I don't know if there's anything more to discuss other than that there is a draft draft resolution. Attorney Polidoro, anything further to discuss with regard to this resolution?
I mean, just the conditions, which if you read through, you'll see they're just minor technical revisions,
Mm-hmm.
and then requesting the legal documents for review.
Okay. All right. Okay, resolution to grant preliminary layout and final plat approval, Petrie lot line alteration, whereas the applicant, John Petrie, has submitted an application for approval of the minor subdivision plat to alter lot lines of two existing lots to convey approximately 3.658 acres to Lot 1, identified as parcel number 6959-00-966655, and add it to Lot 2, identified as parcel number 6959-00-957630 in the RU zoning district, known as the project site, and whereas the project is shown on a subdivision plat entitled Lot Line Alteration Prepared for Petrie, prepared by Johnson Surveying, dated December 28, 2025, sheet 1 of 1, the subdivision plat. And whereas the applicant has submitted a short environmental assessment form, or EAF, dated January 7, 2026, pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA. And whereas no new development is proposed on Lot 1 or Lot 2 as part of the project, and a proper case does not exist for acquiring recreation fees. And whereas on February 2nd, 2026, the Planning Board classified the project as a Type 2 action under SECRA, and whereas a duly noticed public hearing was held on March 2nd, 2026, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants preliminary layout approval to the subdivision plat. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants the final subdivision approval to the subdivision plat and authorizes the chair or the authorized designee to affix his signature to the subdivision plat after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. 2, revision of the subdivision plat to correct the tax parcel numbers. 3, revision of the zoning table to indicate that tax parcel 6959-00-966655 is only located in the RU district by removing that column of the table. 4, revision of the subdivision plat to extend the proposed new driveway easement to Westover Road. 5, approval by the attorney and engineer to the planning board of 1, the agreement to terminate the existing driveway easement on tax parcel dash 657 900 and to create a shared driveway and shared driveway and maintenance agreement as shown on the subdivision plat, and 2, a deed to convey approximately 3.658 acres and merge it with tax parcel dash 957630. And 3, an undertaking from the applicant's attorney to record such approved easement and maintenance agreement and merger deed after the subdivision plat is filed in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk. 1 second. Okay, so I'm seeing 3 parcel numbers now. I'm seeing 96655, 657-900, and 957-630.
So one of them is wrong.
Right.
Yes.
That's why I haven't finished reading it yet.
I'm gonna think that
And given it to the board.
it might be
So,
from comment 3.
Let me
that
go to,
The tax parcel numbers are wrong on the subdivision plat,
let me just go to Dutchess Parcel Access and see what that says.
so I don't.
It's one of those things, you look at something 5, 10 times and you just can't see anything else wrong with it. So you just, yeah.
966655 and 957630. I think those are the 2.
We're getting there.
Well, no, let's check them. Did you?
The what number?
Yeah.
Well, which ones, maybe it's the wrong
Do you
number.
want it?
Just put in
I'm almost
957630.
there.
Yeah, or you can that.
Or I can just do this. Okay. So,
Keep going south.
96655 and 957630.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, that's what I have.
So then, 9, 6,
3 6s, 5 5.
5, 7. So then the number 5 needs to be fixed.
Okay,
Can you go back to parcel access for a moment?
yes. The driveway
Driveway's
starts on,
957-630, but we need to terminate it on 96655. So that should say 96655.
okay, so this number here should be
6,
966655. And
The other
we're
one-
saying the other number is
That one's right.
correct.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, and I think if you pull up the subdivision plat, the number is not, it needs to be fixed on that.
all right, we're all good now?
I think.
Okay. So this resolution is being offered by Member LaRobediere, seconded by
Second.
Member Palmer. Discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion, resolution to grant preliminary layout and final plat approval, Petrie lot line alteration. If the secretary please call the roll.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Valanda?
Aye.
Member Palmer?
Aye.
Member Robedier? Chairman Cortine.
Aye. All right, this resolution is adopted 5-0 with 1 absence. Congratulations. Just, take care of those outstanding issues. Thank you very much. All right. All right, save that, close that. All right, next we have Wingdale Solar. We did receive a email from one of their consultants that they had a number of issues come up and they could not make it tonight.
That is correct.
So-
It also said that they reviewed the drafts and had no comments.
Okay. All right, let's see. That,
It's under EAF, the
Yep.
pause check.
all right.
Go to the Word.
I don't know why
You
it's
gotta
not.
change it.
Just close out this other stuff. Okay. All right, so at our last meeting 4 weeks ago, we had asked our consultants to prepare a positive declaration under SECR for the Wingdale Solar Project. This is that positive declaration. Our consultants could just
Yeah.
run through some important points for us.
Yeah, I'll just summarize how we got
Sure.
to this point. So you had a public hearing back in November. It was continued, and there was a comment period that was held open until early December.
Mhm.
You then used the December 15th meeting and the February 2nd, 2026 meeting to go through the part 2 of the full environmental assessment form.
Mhm.
And during those deliberations, you've identified at least one potential environmental impact, significant adverse environmental impact from the application. So we completed the part 2, identified those impacts, and then we went ahead and prepared a positive declaration, which will require the applicant to prepare a draft environmental impact statement, focus on these areas identified within it.
First, we need to create a scoping document.
Yeah, so what will happen is, so this document, the positive declaration that you have open here, just sets forth that we got to the point of a positive declaration. It describes the project, it describes the potential impacts. Under the reasons supporting this determination, there's a handful of topics that, with some summaries of why the planning board identified these as areas of concern. So what will happen next is the applicant's going to be charged with preparing what's called a scoping document, which is basically like a table of contents and an outline of how the DEIS, Draft Environmental Impact Statement, will be prepared, how it'll be organized, how it's going to address each of these topics. There'll be a section required for alternatives to the project that they have to identify, along with some standard chapters that SECR requires for all environmental impact statements, including a mitigation summary, executive summary, and some other summary chapters that are all required for DEIS in the regulations. So we don't have that draft scope yet. So what will happen here is, and there's really no timeline for them to provide one under the regs. Once they submit one, there is a clock that starts for the DEIS process. But right now, if you're going to adopt this tonight, the next step would be for the applicant to submit the positive declaration, the scoping document, preferably by a meeting deadline that we can all have time to look at it and we can discuss at the next meeting. If the board's willing to accept that draft as is, you can circulate it, hold a scoping session, which is a public hearing basically on the scope itself. You're required to do that within 60 days of adopting or of accepting the applicant's draft. It can still be modified. We'll have comments on it, I'm sure. The board will have comments. The public will weigh in the scoping session. And then, like I said, that clock starts 60 days from receipt of the draft. Within that 60 days, you should have the hearing so that the comments can be heard. And then the applicant should quickly move to submit a final, quote unquote, final scoping document, which we'll review, and if that's acceptable to the board, that'll be the version that gets adopted and will guide the preparation of the DEIS.
Okay. All right. Any members of the planning board have any comments or questions?
Since they're not here, if we start that clock now, would they be at a disadvantage?
Well, we can't start a clock until they submit a draft scoping document, which they said they're already starting to work on one. So once we receive that, technically there's a 60-day clock. And if the planning board doesn't adopt or make changes to that within 60 days, that one becomes a default scope that gets used for the DEIS. So that's why the scoping meeting is important. It's important that we make sure we have a meeting within that 60 days to talk this through.
Essentially, the applicant requested that you move forward with this step tonight so that they can work on the next steps.
Yeah, there's really no prescribed deadline for like once a positive declaration is issued and a scoping document is submitted, they can take their time if they want to prepare it. There's no,
Right, they could wait 6 months to prepare
Yeah,
a
they
scoping
could.
document if they wanted to.
Yeah.
They could never prepare one and nothing happens.
right. A lot of the time,
They could have it, here it is tomorrow, here it is.
right. For some projects where it's known up front that there seems to be a need for an EIS, the applicant will sometimes submit that scope anticipating that a positive declaration is going to happen, so that there's a lot
Mhm.
more. And usually the pos deck and the scope gets issued the same night, and the 60-day clock can start that night. We don't have that situation here because we
Right.
need to see that draft scope first. So
Sure.
this will just be starting the process, and it's on them next.
Thank you.
Any, also, okay. So the only thing I had on this was the section about environmental justice and disadvantaged communities. So has the state added that
Yes.
to SECR now? Because that wasn't
Well,
part of
they're
what we
proposed.
discussed
They're not in the
previous meeting.
They're not in the EAF's environmental assessment forms yet. There's a draft EAFs that has this topic in it.
Right.
They're not officially adopted yet, but
Okay.
the environmental justice citing law and has been out there, and by that the state's requiring that this be included, especially for EIS projects, that this be considered. So
Okay.
even though we didn't cover it in the part 2 because we were looking at a part 2, that's the old version. It's not the
Right.
new one.
Well, because they haven't adopted a new one.
Yes.
And look, I'm perfectly fine with this being here. We just didn't.
We didn't really talk
discuss-
through
So I
it.
didn't know if
Yeah.
this being here was problematic or this not being here was problematic.
I think it's better.
So I'm
for
asking
everybody.
Attorney Polidoro.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a dress rehearsal at this point.
Okay.
The law is in effect, but the forms haven't been updated. So
Oh, I see.
It's more conservative to include this.
To include it.
now. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. Anything further? Any members of the planning board? Okay. So again, has the table for the variances that are required, that they would need to go to the ZBA as an involved agency. The reasons for this determination, visual and aesthetic resources, noise, consistency with community plans, really a lack of consistency with community plans, lack of consistency with community character, and then environmental justice and disadvantaged community concerns. All right, seeing nothing further then, we go to this resolution to adopt a determination of significance, a positive declaration for Wingdale Solar. Whereas the applicant, Wingdale Solar PV LLC, the applicant has submitted an application to construct a 4.28 megawatt ground-mounted solar energy system on 6435 Route 55, Wingdale, New York, identified as tax parcel 132-600-7160-00-055290-00000. Notice the property in the RU zoning district and Aquifer Overlay District, totaling approximately 48.3 acres, known as the project. And whereas the project constitutes a Tier 3 solar energy system, which is a permitted use in the RU zoning district, subject to special permit and site plan approval. And whereas the project is depicted on a set of plans entitled Wingdale Solar 6435 Route 55, Wingdale, New York, 12594, site plan approval special use permit prepared by Wendell W.D. Architecture, Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture, PC, and dated 4/30/2025, last revised 7/21/2025. Sheets G001, C101, C102, C103, C200, C201, C202, C301, C302, C303, C401, C501 through C503, collectively known as the site plan set. Whereas the applicant has submitted Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form, or EAF, with supplemental narrative dated November 24, revised July 14, 2025, pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECR, along with the forestry report, jurisdictional determination, draft stormwater pollution prevention plan, traffic narrative, agricultural data statement, and other information in support of the EAF. And whereas pursuant to 6 NYCRR, Section 617.4, subsection B6I. Project that involves the physical alteration of 10 acres of land is a Type 1 action. And whereas on June 2nd, 2025, the Planning Board classified the project as a Type 1 action under SECRA and declared its intent to serve as lead agency in a coordinated review of the project in which no other agency objected, and whereas the Planning Board held a public hearing of potential SECRA impacts on November 17, 2025, which was kept open for written comments until December 1, 2025. And whereas the Planning Board deliberated on Part 2 of the EAF at its regularly scheduled meeting on December 15, 2025, and February 2nd, 2026. And whereas on January 13, 2026, the applicant submitted a response to public and planning board comments and a draft of Part 3 of the EAF. And whereas the planning board has considered the criteria contained in 6 NYCRR Section 617.7 and thoroughly analyzed all identified relevant areas of environmental concern, and now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby determines that this project includes the potential for at least one significant adverse environmental impact as set forth in Parts 2 and 3 of the EAF, and that the applicant is directed to prepare a draft environmental impact statement, or DEIS, in accordance with the requirements of 6 NYCRR Sections 617.9 and 617.12. Be it further resolved that a scoping of the DEIS will be conducted and the applicant is directed to submit a draft scoping document for the DEIS to the planning board in accordance with 6 NYCRR Section 617.8. Be it further resolved that the planning board intends to hold a public hearing on the draft scoping document to be scheduled at a future date and time. Be it further resolved that the planning board secretary is authorized and directed to file this resolution and the attached positive declaration with the town clerk, all involved and interested agencies, the town supervisor, the applicant, the environmental notice bulletin, and any person who has requested a copy. This resolution is being offered by
So move.
Member Villano, seconded by Member Lobadier. Discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion. Resolution to adopt a determination of significance, positive declaration, Wingdale Solar. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Wait,
Member
sorry,
Valano?
pause.
Member Palmer?
You need to actually step away.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 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 So if you just,
Don't, I mean, I wouldn't even abstain. I think you should just
yes,
leave,
Step
absent
out, please.
yourself.
yes.
Thank you. I didn't realize.
Mr. Chairman, if I have a couple of,
Forgot to leave.
Yes.
if I have a couple of edits or questions on this, could we talk about those maybe first before the vote, or should we wait?
We already started voting,
Okay, it's
No one's
fine.
gonna be able to-
so
Okay, no problem.
let's pause for a moment.
Sure.
Is there a legal concern with this document?
No.
Okay. Secretary, if you could please start calling the roll again for a resolution to adopt the determination of significance, positive determination, Wingdale Solar.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Valano?
Aye.
Member Robadier? Chairman Courtine?
Aye. This resolution is adopted 4-0 with one absence and one abstention. That's okay. Next on the agenda, we have a release of performance bond. That'll be for Double JK Ranch. Okay. All right. So we have a memo here from Engineer Berger, your chairperson Courtine, and members of the planning board. I inspected the site and found all work has been completed. I recommend release of the performance guarantee for the Double JK Ranch project. Engineer Berger, if you could just remind us what the work that they needed to do was, please.
It was around
Just with the microphone.
They had a pond that they were working on, and a little
Right.
drainage ditch that went up to the pond that disturbed some earth. And Don Anderson and I were involved with not just the Chapter 65, but for compliance, and we both went out there and inspected several times.
Okay. Thank you. And if you could do us a favor and never mind.
You can come back now.
We'll let you back in.
Okay, so resolution recommending the release of the performance guarantee, Double JK Ranch. Whereas on April 21, 2025, the planning board granted the applicant, Double JK Ranch LLC, an erosion sediment control permit in conjunction with conditional approval of a site plan and special use permit to legalize an existing hunting cabin and 3.5-acre farm pond on property identified as 39 Northeast Mountain Road in Dover Plains, tax ID 7163-00-380110 in the RC and RU districts, known as the project. And whereas as a condition of approval of the erosion sediment control permit, the applicant was required to submit a performance guarantee in the amount of $9,300. And whereas the planning board engineer has conducted a final inspection of the property and by letter dated February 25, 2026 has confirmed that all work authorized under the permit has been completed and all provisions of the permit have been met. And whereas pursuant to Town Code Section 65-11, subsection C, such performance guarantee shall continue in full force and effect until a certificate of compliance shall have been issued by the authorized official after such consultation with any agencies or individuals as he deems necessary to ensure that all provisions of this chapter and of the permit have been met. Now therefore be it resolved pursuant to Town Code Section 65-11, subsection C, the Town of Dover Planning Board hereby recommends issuance of a certificate of compliance and the subsequent release of the performance guarantee submitted to the town by the applicant. This resolution is being offered by Member Palmer, seconded by Member Robedier. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, resolution recommending the release of the performance guarantee, Double JK Ranch. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Villano?
Aye.
Member Palmer?
Aye.
Member LaRobediere? Chairman Courtine.
Aye. The resolution is adopted 5-0 with one absence. All right. Okay, next on the agenda is discussion of Town of Dover zoning
Chairman
code.
Courtine,
145 update comments.
correction to the performance bond released for the 10 Mile River Preserve. There
Okay.
was a typo in it. It was $1,500. We need a motion to correct that to $15,000.
Okay, motion to amend that dollar amount from, that was the February 2nd meeting?
Yes.
From the February 2nd meeting from $1,500 to $15,000. Seconded by
Second.
Member Villano. Discussion.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. The motion passes 5-0 with one absence. Okay, Town of Dover zoning code, section 145 update comments. So the zoning update committee has submitted a draft to the town board. Town board is looking for comments from the planning board. Planner Werner and AKRF are consultants for both the planning board and the town. Did AKRF have any conversations with the town board regarding this?
Have not.
Okay.
No. I was looking for some updates on that
Right.
tonight.
Okay. And Engineer Berger is also the engineer for,
No comments.
and no comments. Okay. So members of the planning board, I don't foresee that the planning board is going to have planning board comments, but any members of the planning board who wish to submit comments, Secretary Van Millen, they should submit them by,
March 13th,
which would be a
Friday.
Friday? Friday. Okay, so Friday next week. All right.
We can do that if the board wants us to. We could talk to the supervisor.
Right, it just, as I discussed, it just comes down to that if you're doing that, then the town board needs to authorize paying you to do that.
Right.
Because that's not in the budget of the planning board
Correct.
to do that. So, so yeah, I guess you work for the town board, they need to, you're their consultants too, so. Okay. So again, anyone from the planning board, those wish to submit comments, please do so before Friday of next week to the town clerk
Either the town clerk or me
or to
Yeah,
Secretary
we're-
Bruno.
communicating.
Okay. All right. So we have a meeting scheduled for March 16th, 2 weeks from now. And what do we have potentially for that?
I don't think we have anything.
So then do we not have a meeting for March 16th?
I don't think so.
All right. So seeing no reason for the meeting on March 16th, that meeting is then canceled. We do have a meeting on April 6th. We did receive a application Friday or today. That would be on that agenda for April 6th. And the deadline for the April 6th meeting is March 18th. We would also have a continuation of the Redless Private Cemetery public hearing on that date, and anything else that is received in the next 2+ weeks. So
Possibly the scoping document for Wingdale, yeah.
maybe. All right. Any further business for the planning board? Seeing no further business, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Seconded by Member Palmer. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.